I think we're good. We're about good.
Good. All right, so time has come, and I would like to welcome everyone, and Mayor Orr is Amo in Ottawa, so I believe she's going to be joining us by Zoom. And with that, I would like to call the meeting for Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 to order. And we'll start out with a moment of reflection. Thank you. And we'll move on to confirmation of the agenda. And I would like to add one item to the agenda package, and that's the process for hiring a new CAO. So I would like to put that on 8.5 or down there someplace. So with that, any a motion that the council agenda dated August 19th, 2025 be approved as circulated and amended. Moved by Margaret Bell, second by Counselor Vaness. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Mind everyone in declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we have no closed session report. We move on to consent agenda. Would anyone like to see it moved or discussed? Counselor Jack Bell.
Can we pull 6.4, please?
Yes. Counselor Marco.
I was also gonna pull 6.4.
Okay.
Discussion on that.
Anything else? Would you like to discuss it or pull it for a later date? Or later?
Could we discuss?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay.
So. I'm fully in support of this, of Norfolk County's, letter. I'm concerned that, farmers are gonna be considered money launderers or terrorist financiers. $10,000 in cash may seem like a lot, but when you're moving stuff around, it's not a lot of money. Or I'm also gonna say service clubs. When you go to the bank with cash receipts after a night, and I'm gonna use the steak stag that happened last week over at Downey. Probably going into the bank with more than $10,000 in cash. So I don't think that someone like a service club, a farmer, anyone that deals with cash, I don't like the idea of pushing cash out of circulation. So I would like to see some support for the original motion from the Township of Otonabee, South Monaghan regarding Bill C2.
Thank you. Counselor Marco.
Yeah, I second that. I just think it's another example of government overreach. I feel that not just the farmers, but also people that buy cars for their children for cash to get away from scams online and bank drafts that bounce through Kijiji or Marketplace or any of these online sites where you can buy things. There's a lot of scamming going on, and when you pay cash for things, you want to buy your children a vehicle, $10,000 doesn't cut it. So I'd also like to the service club point, there's people that give a lot of money to churches, not for profits, and they pay cash, so. I mean, it's also political.
Good. What's council like a letter of support? All in favor? Okay. It was that to draft the letter and send it on. So, motion and consent agenda items 6.1 to 6.7, accepting 6.4, be received for information and that the regular council minutes of August the 5th, 2025 be adopted. Moved by Council Corrigan, second by Council Bell. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, with that, we'll move on to public meetings, hearings and delegation. And we have a couple from Perth County. Welcome, John. Welcome, Bill. And you're going to explain the road rationalization report.
Thank you. Morning, Deputy Mayor Will Wellman and members of council. I'm John Cullen from the County Public Works Department. With me is Bill Wilson, our Director of Public Works. And joining us virtually is David Perks and Matthew Buttram of Tatham Engineering to present our road rationalization study. Back in 2020, County Council approved a road rationalization process intended to assign ownership and responsibility for certain roads within our network to the most appropriate municipal authority. This process was developed from a guiding document published by the Ontario Good Roads Association and involves a systematic review comprised of 3 steps. First being a criteria-based assessment, a principle-based assessment, and a special considerations review. In early 2024, the county received submissions from the local municipalities for roads which were to be considered for upload to the county. As well, all county roads were evaluated through the rationalization process to determine if there is any potential downloading of roads. The submissions from Perth South included the Whalen Line from Highway 7 to Perth Road 151, Line 29 from Perth Road 112 to Highway 7, Line 29 from the Stratford limits to Perth Road 130, and Line 32 from Perth Road 130 to Road 140. County staff also requested that the consultant review Perth South's portion of Olone Ave from Perth Line 32 to the Stratford limits, and Lorne Ave from Road 122 to the Stratford limits. And given that this was our first iteration of the road rationalization process, the county retained Tatham Engineering Limited to provide guidance, analysis, subject matter expertise, and a draft report which they are presenting to you today. As you will see with their presentation, there are a couple of Perth South roads being recommended for upload to the county network. As well, there is a county road being recommended to download Perth South. I will point out that these recommendations have been presented to County Council, but nothing has been approved to date. Our next steps are to present to all 4 local municipalities and receive feedback and comments on this process and its recommendations. We will then compile the feedback and report back to County Council, most likely by the end of the year. County Council would then direct staff, should they want to undertake phase 2 of the rationalization process, which is implementation. And pardon the pun, but this is really where the rubber hits the road. And we find out the financial costs and the impacts should the recommended changes be approved. I will now turn it over to David Perks of Tatham Engineering for the presentation.
Thank you, John, for the intro. What we're going to do here is we're going to walk through the rationalization study presentation, take us through some of the steps a little bit high level at the start here, just to go over how we came up with the criteria, the process that we took, and the findings, and maybe a little bit more focus on how that's impacted Perth South. Go to the first slide, or do I have control of this? So the study purpose and the reason to do a road rationalization study is to make sure that the roads within the county are actually serving a county purpose. Roads have different functions depending on the municipality they're in, or the county, or even the province. There's different tiers to the roads, and each one serves a certain function in terms of the the things that they're trying to achieve. For a county, we'll go through some of the purposes of a county road in a second. But the county road system is important for the overall health of the county and its municipalities. Specifically, getting goods in and out, getting people in and out to places of work, recreation, all sorts of different purposes that the roads might have. And if the road system isn't maintained to a certain standard, that can start to impact the economic growth of the county and its well-being, and of course its municipalities. And realizing that there's a finite resources in terms of maintaining the road network, it's very, very important that that resource, that pool gets allocated efficiently to make sure that the road network is being maintained to its optimal use. Next slide. And next one, that's great. So in terms of the objectives of the study, the first, of course, is to confirm which roads should be county roads and which should be local roads. So in order to do that, we have to identify what is a county road, what is the purpose of a county road versus what is the purpose of the local road. And we go through those steps as to defining what is the main purpose of a county road versus local road. And the intent of this also is to ensure that we've got appropriate accountability to the road users. So if you're on a county road, you know what to expect in terms of maintenance service, what the use is, the function, versus what you get when you're on a local road and what you're to expect when you're there. So there's the road users are being taken, the accountability to the road users in terms of ensuring that the road network is being maintained as it should be, and that the purposes and functions are being met. It also allows for the application of standards and practices that best suit the infrastructure, recognizing, okay, a county road and the specific uses or purposes that it has, there are standards and practices that are best suited for that versus a local road. County roads carry a lot more traffic. They carry through traffic through the county, not just within it. They connect municipalities within and without. And so the intent is for a county road, because it has a much higher function, that there are certain practices that are required to maintain that aren't necessarily required on a local road. And then, of course, that we touched on it a second ago, is just that we need to have a smart and focused spending of county funds, realizing that if we're maintaining roads that aren't serving a function of the county and if they're not serving the function of the county, then they're really not serving the municipality well from that level as well. So we want to make sure that the funding is spent as focused and smart as possible. So we're maintaining the roads as best we can. Next slide. So again, that first step is to really identify what is a county road. What is the role of a county road? And county roads serve higher traffic volumes. They serve all types of vehicles and purposes, whether it's commercial vehicles, trucks, whether it's recreational, whether it's commuter traffic. They tend to travel longer distances through the county. It's not just getting around inside the county, but it's getting goods and services to the county and to places within the county, and getting services outside of the county to adjacent jurisdictions. They tend to accommodate longer distance travel, and they connect areas across, and again, external to the county. That chart there just gives you an idea of the functionality of a road. So as you get down to the local road, the focus is more on local access to properties, driveways, commercial driveways. And then as you get into the higher functions, then it's less about getting people to the properties and more about getting people and goods between places. A collector road will collect traffic from the local street, distribute it to the arterial, and then to major arterial, and so forth. A county road would be considered an arterial road. Next slide. This is just sort of gives context to why we're doing this the rationalization. is in how it's able to be done. As under Section 52 of the Municipal Act, the county has the power to establish the road network, maintain the road network, and add or remove roads to and from the county road system. So that sort of gives the framework as to how the county is able to do this. And again, the intent is to maintain a county road that not just serves the county, but of course the municipalities within it. Next slide. So when we get into the road rationalization, the first thing we do is we take a look at what's been done, where the foundation is for this, where some of the origins come from. Ontario Good Roads Association, that's sort of where the basis of a lot of the criteria come from. They've established a number of criteria, recommendations, guidelines, and we of course looked at those and took a look at what of those roads were attributable to Perth County, which were appropriate, which ones maybe didn't suit the county or didn't serve a purpose in the county because it really it wasn't something that the county it wasn't an issue they had or such. So we looked at that, and that sort of got the foundation. Then we looked at a few others: Dufferin County, Grey County, Simcoe, and Oxford County, and they've all done road rationalization studies. And we looked at what criteria they were using to see if there were criteria that were employed there that weren't employed, that weren't mentioned in the OGRA. OGRA again it's a sort of a starting point. There are other, you can tailor your road rationalization to your county, and you should, to make sure that the purposes and the objectives of the county and the different special things that are unique to the county are covered in the rationalization. We were involved with Dufferin and Grey County in their rationalization process. Simcoe and Oxford we were not, but we used they all had different criteria. Next slide. As John touched on briefly, there were 3 steps to this. The first is a criteria assessment, which we established 8 criteria, which we'll go through in a second, that address specific characteristics of each road section. This one is more drilled down into road sections. It's a point scoring system. There's different thresholds for the different criteria and the points that they're awarded. And it's more the nuts and bolts in terms of number crunching, and it takes into consideration volumes and truck volumes and a few other things like that. The principled assessment is you'll see it when we get through some of the initial results. The principled assessment steps back a bit. It's more high level. It's okay, what has the criteria assessment pulled out, and what, from a principle perspective, there are certain principles of the road network that need to be met that might not be caught in the criteria, because the criteria again is looking at road sections. The principle assessment steps back and looks at the road network at a higher level, and then it's more of a the points awarded are more of a yes no rather than thresholds, as we'll see in a second. Next slide. So we'll go through some of the criteria that we established. One of the important functions of a county road is that it connects the urban centers and the upper tier roads. So if it's connecting 2 urban centers or an urban center to one of your service urban centers, those routes are important for the economic well-being of the county. They're important for employment, people getting around. They're important for goods transfer between urban centers. So there was points awarded for that. Again, if there are other, it just sort of identifies that there are important places within the county that need to have good access, and they need a road network that provides that, whether it is for employment or recreational or goods movement. Whether they're connecting the urban center to an urban center or one of your centers or centers of employment to the upper tier, like one of the highway 23 or highway 8, we want to make sure that traffic is flowing to and from those places as well as possible. So there are points awarded for that connector service that a county road should be provided. We looked at from the official plan, the county's official plan, urban centers, serviced urban areas, and villages, and that's sort of how the basis of how the points were structured. If it's an urban center or serviced urban area and it's connecting, then there's a certain amount of points. If it's village, then it's a little less. But the intent there is just to make sure that that a county road is providing that connectivity. Next slide. We also looked at heavy industry service. So if there's roads that are serving heavy industry, commercial traffic, understanding that those roads are important for, again, economic health, but also there's roads are hard, trucks are hard on roads, and county roads are built to carry those types of volumes. It's not to say that every road that has high truck volume, it should be a county road. It's just that it should be a consideration when we're looking at establishing county roads. Barrier service is a county road should, if there's a barrier within your county, whether it's a river, for instance, that we need to get traffic across, a county road would provide service parallel to that barrier and to a point where that barrier could be crossed. Again, probably the best example would be a river or waterway when it comes to Perth. That you need to get across, that there is some sort of service to get you across that. Otherwise, your county and your land is severed and you can't cross it. So we want a county road should be able to bridge that. Next slide. Traffic speed. So again, we mentioned that that county roads are intended to carry high volumes of traffic, and the intent is to move traffic. It's not local access, so they tend to have a higher speed. It's not that they have to have a higher speed, but they should be able to, and most of them will have a higher speed limit. So there were points awarded for that. Traffic volumes. Again, that's the higher the volume, then it's an indication that there's it's an important connection, that it's carrying higher volumes of traffic. So there are points awarded for that as well. The next slide. Some other criteria we have, it continues within Perth County. So this is where you want to get from north to south, east to west, that there's some sort of, the road network is providing that connectivity. So when we look at these road sections, are they providing something? Are they in terms of connectivity throughout the county, or is it just an isolated road section that maybe is not appropriate because it's not providing a wider service? So that continuation within the county is important. Continues beyond Perth County, again, is also important in terms of roads that are connecting to higher, like to county roads on the outside of our borders. Again, that has a lot to do with getting goods and people in and out of neighboring jurisdictions and Perth jurisdiction as well, whether they're going to work or traveling for recreation. You want to make sure that your traffic as they leave the county is continuing on a upper tier road network, and it's not just being dumped into a local road. So at the same time, we don't want to download a road necessarily that is serving a high function on the other side of our borders. So we want to make sure, again, that helps with the connectivity through the county. Next slide. And then we have the bypass, and that's where we have a county road that might be coming into an urban center. The road network changes its function once it gets into a downtown core. So it starts to become more about access. So it becomes more about pedestrians and more about people, but might be parked car access to storefronts and things like that. So, and then you end up with congestion in the downtown. So if you can find an alternative route to get around some of these urban areas, and to get traffic around it, then you can establish the county road. Is it serving that sort of purpose? Is it getting people around other areas that might be congested or serving another purpose, and the volumes that are trying to get through are unnecessarily getting into congestion. So if it's providing an alternate route, it can get points for that as well. Next slide. Now here's the points section for the criteria. So this is based, again, we went through a lot of the OGRA and the other road rationalization studies, and this is where you have to set the points that each road scores, and you have to set a threshold. So we've got a threshold here that if based on these scores, if a road hits equal to or greater 6 points, then that would be considered a county road. That 6 points is relatively consistent across the rationalization studies that we've looked at. Most of the studies will use criteria between 8 to 10, maybe 11 criteria in their assessment of the road section. So for us, we've got these points that you can score if it's an urban or upper tier connector. There's 0 to 4, 0 points, 2 points, or 4 points, and it's essentially, is the road connecting an urban center? And that would be a 4 points. If it was just skirting the edge of an urban center, then it's 2 points. Or if it's not connecting anything, then it's 0 points. Or not just an urban center, but or an upper tier connector to another upper tier road. Heavy industry, that's just basically how many trucks are on the road. And if there's a threshold in there, if it's greater than a certain point, then it's 2 points. If it's less, then it's 0. Barrier service, it's either providing a barrier service or it's not. Traffic speed, it's either posted above 80 or posted at 80 or above or not. Traffic volume, 0 to 5, there are different thresholds in there. For instance, if it was a less than 1,000 annual or daily trips, or up to 2,000, there's different thresholds in there. They score different points for that. And then again, is it providing a continuity through Perth, or is it continuing beyond Perth? There's either it is or it isn't, so it's 0 or 2 points. And then the same with bypass route. Is it providing a bypass route? Yes, 1 point. If it's not, then 0. And those get totaled up for each road section. And then it comes into we look at the score there, and if again 6 points is that threshold, and that's again fairly consistent on all the reviews that we've looked at. And so it's what we've set for Perth as well. Next slide. After the criteria section, we have that higher view. Again, the criteria is looking more at road sections, so it might not be capturing the overall network in an appropriate way. It's because it's focused on sections rather than corridors. So that's where the principal step comes in, where we take that bird's eye view and we take a look at the county road network. And that's where we've got these principles for the county road that have been established. So a county road should provide appropriate north, south, or east-west service. So it shouldn't be a road that doesn't do that, that just stops, or it's not providing connectivity across, or whether it's north, south, or east, west. It should complement the provincial highway system. Complement it doesn't mean be parallel to it. It means that it services it supports the highway system. So it gets traffic to the highway in a meaningful way, and it gets people from the highway to to other areas in the county. A county road should be direct, succinct, and intuitive. That's for Perth County, that's fairly strong already. It's fairly grid-like. There's not a lot of, it's not too confusing your road network. It's actually very, very intuitive as it is, but and that's a good thing. So we want to look at road networks to make sure from a high level that it's doing that it's providing a high degree of connectivity. Of course, that's sort of fed through much of the rationalization process. It should be along the shortest practical route. We don't want meandering roads. For a county road, that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of a county road isn't going out for Sunday drives, and it's got a purpose of getting people through it. So you want to have the shortest practical route. And this next one is important. It's not providing redundant or parallel service. You don't want county roads that are on top of each other in terms of, kilometer apart or less. Like if there's two, then you end up splitting your resources and maintaining two roads that are providing the same service. So that's something that we want to get away from. We want to try and eliminate redundancy and parallel service from your road network. It does not extend, the county road should not extend through urban downtown areas. And again, that has to do with what the purpose of a county road is versus what the purpose of a local road is. We've seen a number of counties. We've seen, of course, the province do it as well, where they've taken highways or county roads that run through an urban area, and they've downloaded that road section because there are planning aspects to that that are things that are better dealt with at a local level than at the county level or at the provincial level in some cases, where it's that's where you're looking at road access and or access to property, and the whole purpose of the road changes quite a bit once you get into these downtown areas. And of course, the county, one of the principles is that it should be capable of being improved and or maintained as a county road. There are certain aspects of a county road that if you can't take a road and build it or improve it to county standards, then it shouldn't be within the county road network because it won't be able to serve the purpose of a county road. Next slide. So for the principal assessment, it again is more of a yes, no for each of those sections, each of those principles. And if a road scored 5 of 8, then it would be consideration for a county road. Again, these are steps in achieving a road rationalization. So we can't just take the criteria and say, here's your road network. And we couldn't even just take the principal section and say, here's your road network. We have to put the two together in order to sort of get a better picture of what your road network is going to look like. Next step. The overall county road system right now, there's 39 roads, 89 sections, just shy of 500 kilometers. Within Perth South, how that breaks down is 15 county roads, 22 road sections, and 109 kilometers approximately, that center line kilometers. So that's what we've looked at. That's before we start. That's the existing condition of your road network. Next slide. And John mentioned at the start, we didn't just look at the county roads. We also, the county petitioned the municipalities to provide road sections that they wanted considered for upload into the county system. So overall, there are 11 roads that were identified across the county, 14 sections for 78 kilometers. Within Perth, there were 5 roads, 6 sections, and John went through these as well. Lorne and Olone down near the west side of Stratford, Whale and Line down at the south limit of the municipality, and then line 29 and 32 again just outside the outskirts of Stratford. So those were the roads within Perth South that we looked at in terms of, were they better suited to remain as local roads? Were they roads that serve the county purpose and should be uploaded into the county system? Next slide. So now we get into the road rationalization results. These maps are actually in the reports that we provided, and they show what happened when here's the existing road network. Here's what happens with step 1 and step 2, and then we get into step 3, which we'll discuss a little further, which are the special considerations. That's where we massage the end at the end. We say, what have we missed? What are the intricacies within Perth County that don't get captured in that criterion principle assessment that should be, and that's where the county staff comes into play. We'll just go through a little bit of the results of the different steps that we've done here. If we go next slide. So this is where it demonstrates why you have to have multi-steps in doing this, and this is similar with most of the rationalization process that we go through with different jurisdictions as well. And if we just apply the criteria assessment, which is just the numbers, and it drilled down at sort of microscopic at when we were looking at road sections, there are 29 of the 89 roads that do not meet the criteria, which is 137 kilometers, which is 28% of the road system based solely on the criteria would be considered not county roads. They wouldn't meet those criteria, which is why when you look at that, you're like, whoa, that's a bit of a shocker, and it's why the road rationalization study is more iterative, and there's different steps to go through it. And through that criteria, there were 3 local roads that were considered as candidates for upload to county. Within Perth, seven of the 22 road sections, those are county road sections, would not meet the criteria, about 40% in terms of kilometers. And in terms of the local roads, two of those local roads, Lorne and Olone, those were candidates through the criteria assessment that were identified that those would probably serve a county purpose. Next slide. So that's when we, again, apply that higher level where we step out. And if we just go with the criteria, we're going to find a lot of gaps in our road because one road section might not meet the threshold, but the next road section will. So one's being dropped and one's not. And so it ends up causing gaps in the road network. So that's where we could go into our principal assessment. So, okay, let's take a look at the overall road network. And you can see it drops quite a bit. Once you do the principal assessment, that we go from nearly 30% or 28%, I think it's 28% that were identified as not meeting the criteria, and it drops down to 9%. And that's because we start to fill in those gaps. We start to say, okay, no, although that one section drops, it's important for the corridor of the overall road network that it may be maintained, it gets maintained within the county. And so we see all of that, some of these roads start to come back in because they're serving, in terms of principle, they serve that county purpose. And then when we look at that, now we've got 8 local roads that are to be considered as county roads. So it brings a lot more into the road network. Within Perth, now you're only looking at 3 road sections that don't meet the criteria. And now there are 3 road sections, Lorne and Olone, and now Whale and Line, that are now identified as, hey, those are roads that, yes, they're local, but they might be better suited in a county context. Next slide. Now, in the end of that, that's when we sit down, we get we look at the road network that's been pumped out through the criteria and the principal assessment, and we look, are there any issues in that road network? Are there anything that was missed by those 2 steps? Is there anything that has local importance or county local importance that maybe isn't captured in something that's a little more generic in the application of the criteria, the principles? And going through that, we found that there are 5 road sections that don't meet the criteria or satisfy the principles for county roads, and they're listed there. Line 56A, 88A, Perth Road 147, and Perth Road 151. In terms of those, 56A, again, we looked at it and said, yes, not really satisfying all these things, but it's a very specific road that's important. Although it's short, it's important in terms of connectivity, turning movements. That's on a bend of one of the roads, so it's an important road that should be maintained within the county. And the same with Perth Road 147 is that it's a very important piece in that northern section that provides a north-south connection. So although they didn't meet the county road networks, we said those should be maintained to maintain connectivity in the road network. With respect to Perth Road, or to Perth South, Perth Road 151, and the south limits, that one was identified for transfer to the municipality. It's got low volumes. It does connect to a upper tier road in Middlesex, but road with the traffic, once they're hitting Perth, it's dispersing. It's dispersing east-west on Whale and Line. It's not really going up 151. The volumes drop off quite a bit, and then 151 just comes in and stops at 8. So traffic is already heading over to 23, or they're heading over to 139. So that 151 isn't serving the purpose of the county at that point. The traffic is already dispersing east and west before it even gets to 151. So that road, it's sort of an isolated road. It's not providing the north-south service. So that one was identified for transfer to the municipality. Next slide. For the other roads within Perth South, so there's 2 local road sections that meet the criteria and satisfy the principles, and those are Lorne and Olone on the west limits of Stratford. They sort of provide, they're bordered, because they border with Stratford, is determined that, and they carry quite a bit of traffic. They provide connectivity to Perth Road 32 as well. It was just felt that was better, that um, facilitating of the maintenance of those roads is probably better suited with the county and dealing that with the upper tier of Stratford rather than the municipality. And they are serving quite a bit of traffic through that area and providing connectivity to 32 and then into Stratford. So those were identified to may be transferred to the county. Whalen Line is also recommended in the south limit to be transferred to the county. There's a gap in Whalen Line between 151 and 139. It's experiencing a lot of traffic. It connects all the way down to Highway 7, so it made sense to bring that into the county road. It's also a border road with Middlesex, so that's it's serving a county purpose in that respect. So that road was also considered for transfer to the county. Next slide. So this just provides a bit of a summary of the roads that are to be maintained as county roads in terms of kilometers, and those to be transferred to the municipality. So we have 8 kilometers being transferred to the municipality, 488 to be maintained as county roads. Now that's, of course, of the existing county road network. So there's not a massive change in terms of the road network isn't seeing a overwhelming overhaul or any of that sort, and that's not what we would expect to happen either. We would expect there to be smaller sections. Whenever we do these processes, it's never an earth-shattering, oh my goodness, we're transferring this many roads. It's always relatively minor. There are transfers, but this is sort of in line what we would do, maybe even a little bit less than what we would normally expect. Go to the next step. Next slide, please. And this again, just as a breakdown by municipality. So line 88A in North Perth, that was to go from the county to municipality. And then as we just discussed, Perth Road 151 going from between Whalen Line and Perth Line 8 to be transferred to the municipality. Next slide. And again, it's just some more summaries of what we've discussed. So those are the roads in this respect of roads that are being transferred to the county from the municipality. So you can see there that of all the roads that we were looking at within the county, these 3 roads were the only that were identified for transfer to the municipality. These 3 roads within Perth South. Next slide. And it's just based on kilometers, what we're looking at in terms of what's being transferred to and from. So this again is all captured in the report. For South, we have going to the county 7.8, coming from the county 9, so it's a reduction of 1.2 kilometers. Next slide. The next steps that we have here, John touched on them as he in his introduction. The findings have been presented to council. They're now being to county council. Now they're being presented to local municipalities, and we'll go through that and solicit feedback. Provides a summary to county council, and then it goes into phase 2. Or seeking approval to go into phase 2, and then, as John mentioned, that's where as he said, the rubber hits the road. That's where this is the easier part of figuring out what the road network should look like, and then actually putting that into place. That is a more difficult and it's a longer process to do that. And sorry, go on to the next slide. In terms of the road rationalization plan, what that phase 2, this just gives an idea of what it looks like, and we've got a road network, we've got our recommendations, and now it's a matter of how does that get triggered, and how do we do that? Is there just a do nothing? Now we've got our recommendations, but we're not going to do anything with it. We're going to transfer the roads in their current state, or we're going to transfer them in an improved state with structures? We're going to transfer them with concessions. So there's a whole different set of um, processes that have to go into phase two. And then also, as I mentioned there, how do we stage that? It's difficult to just do it all at once. There's cost implications, of course. So that's all what comes out of phase two, which we haven't proceeded with that yet. That still needs to be approved by council to look into that. Next slide. And this just brings it back to the purpose of the road rationalization study, and that's to make sure that that the county has a right size, is the term that it gets used is that the county road system is right size, that its purpose, that its function and purpose is that for the county. It's we don't have roads that shouldn't be within the county road network, and we don't have local roads that should serving as local roads that should be within the county. We want to make sure everything is for the county. The road network is serving the county's overall purposes, which of course benefits and serves the local municipalities. So it's a road network that needs to be correctly identified and correctly sized, so it is meeting those functions, and it's functioning well and healthy, and that the roads are maintained to a, a standard and that is attributed to a county road, and that and if it's for the health of the county and its municipalities, that gets done, because we do realize that we realize that there are resource issues, not just in Perth County, everywhere, when it comes to maintaining road networks. So we want to make sure we're maintaining the roads that are serving that purpose, and that if it's not serving that purpose, then those funds should be spent on roads that are serving it. And it's for the betterment of the overall county and its municipalities and the people who are traveling, whether they're traveling through, whether they live in the county. So it's an important step. It's not an easy step, but it is an important one. And next slide. Now that's it for the presentation. If there's any questions, of course, we're here to answer those.
Good. Before we start with questions, there's some people standing in the hall. There's seats in here. You're welcome to come in and join us. And, okay, questions for John, Councilor Corby.
I noticed in phase two, I'm glad there was 4 options there, because the 3 roads that Perth County want to upload, we have spent a lot of money on them over the last 3 or 4 years, like the new bridge. I mean, there needs to be some compensation or a thought to whatever we're taking off the county should be to the same degree of what we've invested in those 3 roads. So it's just I'm glad there was 4 options in phase 2 that should be considered before there's a decision.
John, would you care, or Bill, or comment?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, that's what the implementation phase is for, is to consider all those costs associated with the assets, the condition that they're in. As you say, there has been big investment, not only in the Wayland line, but also Old Roman there with the bridge and work being done. So those things all factor into the implementation and costs associated with the assets and transferring it. So.
Any questions? Councilor Bennett.
Just a question here, on the rating system here. You've got about 8 different things here, and I live in line 29. And I just noticed here under heavy industry, it's rated as 0. And yet all the heavy traffic coming out of the south side of Stratford, the right, industrial park, all of that traffic that heads north or west comes down line 29 to hit road 130, and yet it's scored as a 0. Like, we have as many trucks on that road as we do cars. I'm just curious why the score is 0.
Here to comment?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, maybe I can have David answer that.
Okay, David, could you answer that question?
For sure. That's the volumes there, the threshold. So the volumes on line 29 just were not they didn't hit the threshold that we're experiencing on other roads that do have a higher level of trucks. So although there may be, it's not to say there's not trucks on line 29. It's just that not hitting that threshold as compared in context of the other municipal or the other county roads. So that's where that's come from. Why it's scored as 0. It's not that it's not generating any, but it's that it's not hitting our threshold. Let's see if I can dig up the truck numbers here. I believe it's 102 trucks in a day. I believe that's what we're looking at. So it's just not. It's again, it's not that it's not experiencing the traffic. We have to do these in context of the overall road network, and what we're experiencing on other roads. So the roads in relation to other county roads is just not at the threshold that we would where it scores a point.
No, thank you. And then one further question.
Yes.
For all these roads that you have listed here, were traffic counts done on them, and I assume that's in 24, would that have been 25 for all those various roads?
Under Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, I guess we updated all of our traffic counts on all our county roads, and as well any, as we mentioned, to the local municipalities well before this process started to take place, is that they were providing submissions for roads to be considered for upload, that they should be updating all of their traffic counts as well. So yes, all that data is up to date.
Like 24 or 25 then?
Correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Further questions? Well, looks like you're getting off very easy today. Thank you, David, John, and Bill for your presentation, and we'll look forward to the next phase. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion that we Perth County Local Rationalization Study Report be received for information. Moved by Councilor Mark Bell, second by Councilor Murray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to Director of Public Works. Ken.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. First report here is my update report. I've been working at the, helping with the pool quite a bit. And we have some, culvert structure work ongoing right now, on, Road 140 and on Perth Oxford Road. Those are in the middle of, the repairs being done. Everything seems to be going okay. One thing not on here was the tree power program was announced or put live yesterday through Upper Thames Conservation Authority. So the online tree order stuff is open now. People can go on and get their trees. We're in the middle of doing the notice or advertising for that as well. And then the tree power pickup would be on September 27th here in St. Paul's.
Good. Questions for Ken? Councilor Murray.
If you could talk a little more about the time you're spending at the pool, not equipment operations, what's going on with the equipment there?
Everything. There's a little bit of everything. Just chemicals. Yesterday, there was problems with the electrical system out there. I found out appears to be the fridge that was tripping the breaker. So now we got to look at a new fridge just for the staff to have their lunch and stuff in. So, but it's just, yeah, it's not one continuous thing. It's just a bunch of little things that there seems to be.
Good. Councilor Jeff Bell.
Just, there's, so the municipal drinking water license renewal, when are those due?
The renewals are due to be submitted. I don't have the exact date, but it's October, I think.
Okay, so we're not past the line, those.
No, but we need it, part of that, there's a whole bunch of information that we need to have and the financial plans. is one component that we need to get done, so we can get that component included in the submission, so that council will see that, coming
Next meeting.
soon, yeah. Thank you.
Councilor Van Ness.
Ken, could you give us an update on, when the paving for Road 130 and line 29 will start, and how long would you, expect that to take?
Bill or John, they just,
Yeah, I
I
know.
guess I would ask that.
That's the
It's
problem.
county stuff, last I heard it was somewhere around the end of August, they were going to start the recycling component of it, so then the
If I
recycling.
can interrupt, sorry, Bill.
Should have ran with
I'd like to that you're still here, Councilor Van Ness had a question.
Just, yeah, I wonder if you could give us an update on when the paving work will start on Road 130 and the time frame of that.
Yeah, sure. Through stuff that we mayor, last update I had from the general contractor was they're moving in on the 25th of August. Which I think is Monday. Either gonna start on New Line 29 or on our Perth Road 130. Recycling on both those roads will probably be about a 5-day operation. And then there'll be a period of time while that recycled mat cures, and then hot mix will be placed probably within 2 weeks after completion of the recycling.
Now, one final question, is the county replacing the culvert? That'll be on the north side or just south of Sebringville? There's a culvert before you get to the bridge.
Yes.
So that one will be replaced before the pavement, so.
That's gonna be tight coordination of work. That culvert is tentatively booked to start on September 2nd. So working with GIP and the contractor, they're separate contracts, to facilitate how we're going to complete that north block of 130 while that road's closed for access.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bill.
No problem.
Sure, thanks.
Stand
Oh,
on.
you can do a bit more, I did, but. Remember, that's what, yeah, that's what I was thinking, of some soon.
Okay. Further questions? Seeing none, I have a motion that the Director of Public Works update report be received for information. Moved by Councilor Jeff Bell, second by Councilor Corby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Drainage Superintendent report.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, Scott's update report there, if anybody's has any questions, try and answer, I know he's still busy. The drainage work, so, not going on.
Okay. Any questions on the drainage superintendent? Councilor Van Ness.
Just one question, has there, been an appeal date set yet with the drainage tribunal for the Scarra Valley drainage, you know?
No, we did get confirmation from, them, they'd asked for some more information from Zent, but there had been no date or anything, set, so.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion that the drainage superintendent update report be received for information. Councilor Mark Bell, second by Councilor Van Ness. All in favor? Carried. Okay. We'll move on to the Ontario Transfer Opinion Drainage.
Yes, thank you. Last report here is, report on the Housing Enabling Core Services, grant that we received from the, province. The grant is for reconstruction of Station Road. And the plan is to upgrade, Station Road to a full urban road. Cross section, including, curbs and storm sewer sidewalks.
Which is tied to the approval of the development that.
For the project.
Excuse me, this is not a public hearing.
The grant, or the agreement is included in the package for council's information. It needs to get executed and sent back to the province. So we're able to receive the funding. Additionally, BM Ross has been involved in the project. They helped with some of the grant submission. And they're aware of other stuff that's happening around in the area. So I would recommend we have them start the engineering on the project for us as well. If anybody has any questions.
Council, any questions? Okay, Council Martin.
I'd just like some clarity on this, so if we move forward on this and the housing and sewer bill does not go forward, what then?
Through the deputy mayor, the grant, agreement has all the information in there, and it doesn't have any conditions. It's tied to enabling housing, and that there's lands in the area that are zoned properly for that, so, yeah, it's kind of it's for the road to enable housing in the area, but not tied to these specific developments on the road.
So if we go ahead with this and the Cedarville subdivision does not go ahead, do we still get the grant funding either way?
Yes, as far as I know, that's.
Thank you for that clarification.
Council Jeff Bell.
So the scope that we are looking at, goes here over, and is that the same thing that was identified in the road report for what was going to be happening, that we're pulling ahead from 2028?
Yes, correct.
Council Brad.
This road has been, the studies here show it's been on the books since 2018 to do that road. It was reaffirmed in 2023. It's been in our budget since 2022 to do this road. And the costing in 23 was over $1.1 million to do that part of the road. I guess the question I have is, talking to residents in Sebringville, there's been a lot of concern about water sitting in the spring. Part of the engineering talks about storm sewers along the road. Will that include taking some of the storm sewer pressure off of the Wheeler drain coming off of Huron Road? And can we include the scope of cleaning out the Iverton drain at the same time? It hasn't been cleaned out in over 25 years. What's all to do to clean that drain out, to help get rid of the water in the backyards of people? Can we include that in the scope, or at least talk to them about that?
Through the deputy mayor, I think, the Taylor drain, that's the municipal one up near the Highway 8 intersection. We can definitely have them include, and I think it would have been the expected outcome anyway, to include, getting that water, near the station road, storm sewer, and if we wanted to work on the municipal drain, I would think the best would be for council to, recommend that we petition for maintenance on that drain, through, just through Scott, normal maintenance, process. If that's what we want to do to proceed with that.
Council Corby.
We know how long it takes for engineering and all that stuff. I think it's something that should be started, and at worst, we're at $19,000 on engineering, but it's something to me that should be started. It's found money. It's like $1.2 million. And if it goes ahead, it's good for all of us, but if it doesn't go ahead, we're at 90. I see no risk in it as far as
Yes, I think Ken indicated that no matter what, this engineering report would have to be done when we rebuild the road anyways, so whether we rebuild the road in 26 or we do it in 28, we're gonna have the same cost as far as engineering. Is that right, Ken?
Correct, yes.
Further questions? Okay. I have a motion here that the council of the township of Perth authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the Ontario Transfer Payment Agreement for the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, Housing Enabling Core Servicing Stream. And further that authorize BM Ross and Associates Limited to complete the engineering design for the reconstruction of Station Road. Moved by Councilor Van Ness, seconded by Councilor Corby. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Anything else, Ken?
That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the accounts. And I have, put the accounts on the floor. I have a motion that the accounts payable listing dated August 13th, 2025. For the period of July 41st to August 13th, 2025, in the amount of $498,755.37 be approved. Counselor Jeff Bell. Second by Counselor Mark Bell. Questions? Counselor Mark Bell.
I see the bleachers are on the pay-out if we, and then I see it later on in our reports. Pay that out yet? Or is that just?
Tracy.
Yeah, it's going to be paid out, but it was already approved by council to be paid, so we've got the check ready. The report that's coming next is where we're going to pay it from, because that was what I was gonna bring forward. If you choose not to go with this, then we can just journal entry it to a different account.
Counselor Van Ness.
Just a question on roads and brush and tree removal here. There was a payment made to Lang Brothers for road work on 140 line 29. Was that because of the storm or was that scheduled work? Would you know, Ken?
That was from the storm, yes.
Is there more work to do in the township from that storm yet?
I know they're working on some yesterday. Not sure if there's any more cleanup needed. In addition to what they're working on right now, but I think we've got most of it cleaned up.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Hearing none, ready for the question, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, move on to the bleachers.
Pretty dirty merit. So, as I said earlier, council asked me to kind of come up with the area we thought we could spend that 16,000 from, so we came up with the community safety and well-being reserve. It's been sitting there for quite some time and not been used, so it currently has a balance of 18,000 in it, so we I suggested that we use that money to fund the bleachers. So if there's any questions.
Okay, questions? Counselor Merkel.
How did we get to the odd number of 18,000? Usually we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like every year there was money put into the operating and then put back, so it's just kind of an odd number, so.
Can I? Hello?
Hello. Sue,
Good
you are
morning.
here.
Yeah, I am here. Can you see me or no?
No.
We can hear you,
Can't-
but we can't see you.
Can you see me now?
Nope. It's just
Okay, I just want clarification. It's the Community Safety and Wellbeing Reserve. It's not the Wellness Fund that we're taking it from, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm fine with it coming from the Community Safety and Wellbeing Reserve.
Okay. Thank you and good morning.
Good morning.
For a motion that the committed $6,000 payment for bleacher replacement support being paid through the Community Safety and Wellbeing Reserve. Moved by Councilor Corey, second by Councilor Martin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. So we'll send a check to that. Move on to Lizette.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. You have my update report, pretty standard. I've changed the formatting of my report a little bit and changed it to categories, so this is where the bulk of my time is being spent. Payroll is being migrated to the tax clerk, so he's taken over a lot of the input of the payroll, and I still help with checking and uploading, so that's going well. As Ken said, we just received notification from the appeals tribunal requesting further information on the Square drain, so I think now things are gonna see some movement. So the next step is they're reviewing all of the documentation, the additional documentation as well, and they'll send us an order, with next steps. And then we'll circulate to all of the landowners, once we get that information. And so if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions for Lizette? Seeing none, I have a motion that the clerk's update report be received for information. Moved by Councilor Jeff Fell, second by Councilor Martin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And, council payroll, putting on the floor, I have a motion that the report regarding council payroll July 2025 dated August 19th, 2025, including a total payroll of $5,321.88 be approved. Moved by Councilor Van Ness, second by Councilor Jeff Bell. Questions? Seeing none, ready for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, dude.
No, I
Sure.
just, I said aye because I don't think you can see me, so I'm voting yes.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else, Lizette?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay. We'll move to, CEO. Fred? Unfortunately, this is your last report to council.
It is, unfortunate for council, fortunate for me perhaps. As you all know, I have decided to retire, and this report here confirms all of the work that we've been doing for the last 4 years together, along with the staff team. I've had a chance to connect with each of you and express my thanks and gratitude for your support and collaboration, and certainly the staff team here is well positioned to carry on, and I even surprised myself when I was putting this together about you know, how much work we've actually done in the last 2 years. But perhaps more importantly, the fact that the council has supported you know, the foundation and building of the organization and preparing this team and staff for the next chapter. You have my report there, and of course, thank you. Thanks to all of you, thanks to our team, both in the office and on the front line, who, you know, I always worry when there's those snowstorms and we're sending people out while we're telling other people to stay home. You know, those are the true heroes of public works, and you know, thanks to Ken and Scott for leading that team and serving the community with respect. So there's my report. Thank you. I appreciate all that we've been able to do together, and I think the Deputy Mayor has identified an opportunity to talk about next steps, and I would encourage you to do that. So thank you. Okay, questions or comments? Councilor Martin?
Just wanted to add a quick thank you for your leadership, and you've left leaving Perthos better than you found it, so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing no other hands up, Fred, on behalf of Mayor and council and staff and residents, we thank you for your dedication and steering the township forward over the last couple of years. And we wish you and your family all the best. I appreciate it. Thank you. Good. Okay, I have a motion that the CAO report dated August 19th, 2025 be received for information, and that the clerk be directed to draft the bylaw for September 2nd council or 2025 council meeting, appointing Tracy Johnson as acting CAO effective September 11th, 2025. Moved by Councilor Corby, second by Councilor Van Ness. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, as I mentioned at the start, I think it's imperative that we start on a hiring process, and I don't believe Fred's gonna change his mind. So, I think we need to look at a hiring process, and what we've done in the past. We've hired a consulting firm in the past to basically sort out and bring some resumes and some options for CAO. And in the past, we used Nigel Ballot Chamber, and it's obviously been very successful. He brought spread, so I'm gonna throw the floor open to comments and thoughts on council on how to proceed forward. I think the last time we had the mayor, deputy mayor, and one council member sit on a hiring committee. So thoughts, questions, Council Court.
I think we should go back with Nigel. He already knows this. He's ahead of it. I think that would be my recommendation, that we use Nigel again.
Okay. Further comments? Councilor Jeff Bell.
I wasn't here when we did the last hiring, but I do think that it's unfortunately a process that we need to get started sooner rather than later.
Yes. Okay, Councilor Martin.
I'm just curious if there are any other options that are known to be successful and maybe a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, I think that the mayor could hire someone
Oh, okay.
on her own.
Okay.
I think she has the power to do that currently.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't think of, I can't think of anything.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. If I
Yeah.
could just mention, I mean, there are other options. There is Waterhouse. They will take a percentage of the wage. Here at AMO, there's a company called Strategy Corp. They would also potentially help us out. But I would agree that Nigel knows us. He helped us get Fred, so I would support that. And I do also support that there would be a committee of 3 that could potentially help us hire. I do have the power to do it, but I would like to work together as a group.
Further, Councilor Martin.
I think Nigel's fantastic, don't get me wrong. It was just, I'm wondering, do we have any costing on that? Have the rates changed? Is it
I
percentage? Yeah.
understand its cost would be $20,000. And in talking with Fred earlier, he thought the Price Waterhouse would be around 18% of the wages, so Nigel would be less money at that rate.
Full support.
Councilor Martel.
I think where my mind goes is are we hiring a new CAO, or do we want, does Tracy want the job? Are we there yet? Has she thought about it? That kind of thing. Are we hiring more supportive treasurer?
Where my thought is that we go through the hiring process, and Tracy is certainly welcome to put her resume in if she feels that's the direction she would like to go. And then we can handle that process in being transparent that we've hired the best applicant for the position at the time. And I think that's probably the best way to go. Okay, do we need a resolution or,
Yep, I think that would be good.
okay, you wanna read one out?
Well, so based on the conversation, it seems the consensus of council is that, you'd like us to approach Nigel. We have heard rumors that he may be slowing down, so, I think maybe the first step is to see if he's even willing to help us in this process. Yeah.
I think Nigel has said yes.
Oh, okay, well, that's good. So then, yes, we could have a motion that, council appoint Nigel Belchamber to assist in the, CAO hiring process. And appoints. Thank you. Yeah, mayor. Deputy mayor. And you want to appoint the one council member now?
Yes,
Okay.
is there anyone who would like to be on? Council
Probably
Martin,
during the day.
pardon?
Jeff, usually, yeah.
Council Corby?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so the motion is that the CEO, that, council, requests Nigel Bell Chamber to assist in the, CAO hiring process and appoints mayor, mayor, and council Corview as the hiring committee.
All right, with that, do I have a mover and a second? Council Martin, second by Council Mark Bell. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? I didn't hear a Sue vote.
Carried, yes.
Carried. Thank you. All right. So we'll move on to correspondence. No correspondence.
Not at the time of the agenda, so, as council is aware, there was, one fund sent out yesterday, and those items have been forwarded to, Mike Jones and Karen Baker as requested to be part of the EA process review.
Okay, thank you. Council report. Let's start off with Council Martin.
Wow, I have nothing to report, but I do have a quick question, on vandalism. I might bring that up. Maybe we update us on the park vandalism on the happy.
Through Deputy Mayor, I think, well, it was identified, early Sunday morning that, they weren't able to, open up the washrooms in the pavilion. So it appears someone tried to kick the doors in, so the doors are bent and the locks don't work. Expecting, to get the locksmith out today. Help get the doors open, so there's gonna be some work preparing the doors, the locks. And the downspouts straw as well, are caked and crushed, so. Reported to the police.
Councilor Jeff Bell.
No, and I'm just, I guess a question for the group. Did anyone attend the webinar on strong mayor cups last week? I was tied up with. So, just curious.
Councilor Van Ness.
Got a couple comments. I missed my opportunity here with John and Bill here. It looks like there's a possibility that the road crossing. The railroad crossing in Sebring Road is finally fixed properly. They used concrete this time instead of asphalt. And so far it looks fantastic. I'm really hopeful that it stands up. And we will not have that banging all the time.
Yeah.
So good, that's it.
Councilor Corby.
No, all good, had a mobility bus meeting and, the trouble is, they can't buy new equipment without a donation or a grant, so I reached out to, Matthew and, he's trying to help us out. They've got a bus that's 2015, they've spent 20,000 on already. And it's getting close to the value of it, so there's a point we have to stop or replace it, so. Trying to work something through there.
Thank you. Councilor Mark Bell.
Nothing.
Quiet. Councilor or Mayor Orr.
Good morning. Yeah, I attended Family Fun Night in Kirkton. There was a record crowd, I would say, 200 people potentially, families. It was real joy to see that kind of community come together. I am currently in Ottawa at the AMO conference. We've had some great speakers and a lot of networking happening. Some announcements are going to be put in the paper, but yesterday Doug Ford did announce that there is potential. Well, I think if he's saying it, it's not potential, it's going to happen. They're going to do a housing fund where they knock the HST off for first home owners. So that was one of the bigger announcements. Plus he announced 1.6 billion for infrastructure for Ontario, which sounds like a lot of money, but it might not go too far with infrastructure costs. So, yeah, I'll be back later this week and I look forward to hiring a new CAO, but I definitely am going to miss Fred. I appreciate all that he did for us and he will be missed in my eyes. He helped me through a difficult time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hope you push your way to the front of the line for that infrastructure money. Okay, yeah, everything's quiet with me too, so we'll move on to, mayor's update report. Any questions on that? We have a motion that the report regarding the mayor's monthly activity for the month of July 2025, dated August 19th, 2025, be received for information. Moved by Counselor Jeff Bell, second by Counselor Corby. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaws. Move on to bylaws. I have a motion that the bylaw 31/2025 being the bylaw to authorize entering into an Ontario transfer payment agreement for the municipal housing infrastructure program, housing enabling core service stream, be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Counselor Van Ness, second by Counselor Corby. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Did I hear you say yes, Sue?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So, announcements. Counselor Jeff Bell.
Just wanted to bring up for the third year now. The Optimus Club of Downey is partnering with St. Mary's Kinsman, Stratford Rotary, and Stratford Cruises Group to host a community art show September 13th. Over here in St. Paul's. We have, it's an interesting one. This is entry by food bank donation or donation to the Rotary Aquabox program. Downey provides the facility. The Kinsmen look after the food. Rotary looks after the gate and delivering the donations to the food bank. It's a fun event. It's bring a car, truck, tractor, motorcycle. We've had lawnmowers, snow blowers, or some wheels, just about everything. So we have parking stalls painted all over the soccer fields. It's a really fun event. So I just wanted to mention that. I believe this year at Township Office. It's from 9 to 1 on Saturday, September 13th.
Great, thank you. Any further announcements? Okay, notice of motion. Seeing none. Any other business? No. Okay, we have public question period. This is allows the public in attendance a maximum of 2 minutes per person and duration of 15 minutes. Is there anyone in the public? Go ahead, please stand and state your name.
With your permission, I'd like to stay seated, if that's okay.
Yeah.
My voice, Jeff Bell will attest to the fact that it will carry.
Sorry, can I have your name?
Diane Lockhart.
Thank you, Diane.
Council has received qualified third-party reports identifying unresolved risks. Has council formally directed that these reports be independently reviewed and responded to, or has no such direction been given?
Sorry, I don't believe there's been any direction. We are waiting for the PA to be finished. And once that is complete, council can review and make decisions.
Do we have any timeline as to when this BEA will be?
I think they were talking early September.
Yes.
And that would be public and.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Yes,
My name's Doug Lockhart.
yes, Doug.
I'm just curious when it comes to the environmental study for the subdivision, okay? Now, as you know, I've been there 70 years. Okay, looking at this thing. we've had an environmental study about 30 years ago, and the first time a proposal was, and it was a negative effect for to proceed. And then we had another environmental study by, I think Bob Scott, did it when he was trying to do, and it was a negative report. And whenever you get the report from, and if it's not a negative report, my question would be, how would the environment change? Because I understand the world's several million years old, and I haven't seen any big changes in 70 years. So I would just be wondering if a positive one came out, what your action would be regarding questioning those results. Just say, being, there's already been 2 studies done on the very same property. And as I can tell from a visual inspection, I can't see anything that really changed here. And if it was there for the last 70 years, it could have been there maybe a million years, who knows? Doesn't really matter. So what is your process when you have conflicting things? Like, I just wanna know what your process is on something like that.
Well, I would think that, we would have BM Ross compare the reports and see what the difference is and why.
Okay, and would that be done by an independent or
Probably by BM Ross,
a BMO?
who's our, we hire them,
But are they not paid by the developer?
you know,
Who pays them?
first sub,
First sub pays them.
yes.
Okay, so, and I trust you people. Not so much on the developer. Okay, and the people, so I know you are good people and you'll do the right thing. When it comes to safety. Because that would be just a real mess. Somewhere. Now, the other thing, just a note, and I'm not in it, but we had a drill well go dry several weeks after the test well went in, so. I don't know if that has anything, it's probably been like that a million years, so, but I just wanted you to be aware of it.
Thank you, good. Yes,
So,
your name, please?
Adrian Tully.
Thank you.
I just wondered, there are some municipalities that would include, member of the community in a hiring committee for a CIO, and I just wondered if that might be something that could be considered. And then I have a question about the decision. So has council only approved $19,000 for engineering on Station Road? Or has the decision effectively committed the township to advancing full road reconstruction before an environmental assessment is even complete?
The council's only committed 19,000 for an engineering report. And, the resolution has already been made on the hiring committee.
Okay, one more question. Is the Station Road design that, I understand that there was plans to redevelop Station Road regardless of the subdivision? Is the engineering design being completed as a standard reconstruction project? Or one that meets the requirements of the housing enabling for, like, because it might mean that Station Road reconstruction, if it was just Perth South doing it because it needed to be done, might be different and involve more with the housing enabling funding.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe the engineering is going to be up to urban standard. Is that correct, Ken?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so an urban standard. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes,
Captain Winholt, given the CEO's departure and the confirmation that BM Ross is only reviewing the development consultant's work, does council agree that proceeding at this point could risk advancing a non-compliant environmental assessment that could be subject to the Ministry of Environment intervention, which has happened in the past?
right now I see no reason why there would be an issue. We haven't even seen the report, so I can't comment on that.
Through the chair, can confirm that, through both the applicant's consulting team and the township's consulting group, that all of the requirements of the MECP are being complied with, and that there have been no concerns expressed to the township of any potential or risk of non-compliance to the environmental assessment process.
Adrian, one more question.
Actually, there has been concerns raised about compliance with the process.
There have been no concerns raised by the MECP, which is regulating the process.
Okay, and I understand that agency and ministry input for the environmental assessment process is to be made publicly available. And like, for example, at the phase 3 open house, that information, like Upper Thames River Conservation Authority and ministry feedback should all have also been available at that time, as well as that financial costs, life cycle cost analysis and those sorts of things.
So through the chair, at phase 2, there was no preferred strategy for the technology for the servicing plan. So it was not possible to develop a financial plan because the engineering strategy for treating wastewater was not yet settled. Once this strategy and technology are committed, then the expense related to those pieces of infrastructure can be calculated, and then a financial plan would be more readily available.
So that would be part of phase 3?
That's my understanding.
Okay, and just, it's because there are no council updates, reports made available outside of just questions being asked by council during reports and that sort of thing. And no reports or presentations or opportunity for questions and discussion outside of decision points that are being made. I just wondered if there would be a way for there to be a more transparent sharing of information, because it doesn't even sound like council has all the information that they probably should know as co-proponents of the environmental assessment. I mean, as co-proponents, it's not just waiting for the developer's consultant to provide their recommendations, because again, I mean, they have their job and our council has their job. The developer's responsibility ends where council's begins, and for example, the developer's not going to be too concerned about it being affordable to the township, so that's like the township's responsibility. So if a lot of the confusion and questions and everything would be completely avoided if there was a really transparent process that included regular updates and sharing of information, and if there appeared to be a willingness to at least consider public input.
Well, you're certainly welcome to have public input, as you are aware, and that will all be considered when phase 3 is presented. We are being very transparent. We are sharing all the information we receive, and once we receive the EA process for phase 3, that will be shared with everyone when council receives it. And there will be questions again to ask the developer, anyone you prefer. DM Ross will be certainly able to answer questions as well. Kathy.
So I have another question, well, or maybe it's a statement a little bit. Why was council not bothering to inform the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority of number one, the open house as they had asked and requested? And they only heard about it from me the next day or 2 days later when I bothered to call them. And the next day they held an emergency meeting of water source protection, planning, development, whole bunch of high powered directors were invited to emergency meeting once they found out the open house had happened and hadn't been invited like they requested. Why is that being held back? Because they're one of the ones that stopped the process the last time, perhaps?
No, I can't comment on that. That was held by the developer. As an
But I thought you
application, no. Yeah,
Okay.
let me speak, please. That was held by the developer. Open house, and everyone was invited, and you were able to share comments at that point in time. That was not helped by Purcell.
So as co-proponent, you didn't have anything to do with that at all?
No.
Okay, that's interesting.
Doug, one more question.
One more, it's more of a statement,
Yes.
that's why we don't really have a lot of faith in the developer. Cause Upper Thames had no reason to lie that they did not contact him. So I would just hope council would keep eyes wide open when it comes to this development, I mean, wide open, these.
Definitely. Yes, sir.
Is the restructuring,
Can-
for now, maybe, is the restructuring of Station Road also include like widening Huron and putting a turning lane, or is there any work done on Huron?
That'll be the engineer's report, but maybe Ken has some information on it.
The work that for us to do on Station Road, reconstruction won't have anything to do with work on Highway 8. However, work the developer has been doing, they have had discussions with the MTO on a turn lane. That they need to get completed somehow, if they proceed, so. I don't know how that will get implemented, but it's not a reconstruction of Station Road component necessarily.
That's MTO that will make that decision, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Further questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. Enjoyed our public question period, and we'll move on to our confirmatory bylaw. That bylaw 32-25 being the bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution of the township of Perth to be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Council Corrigan, second by Council Martell. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have a motion to adjourn at, looks like about 11:13, 12. Moved by Council Martell, second by Council Bennett. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Have a great day.